Hello all. In this video, we will be looking at what is WBS, work breakdown structure, and its PMBOK definition, along with the example of a WBS, what is the decomposition of a WBS, the naming conventions of WBS, and what is a WBS dictionary. Now, at which stage of the project do you think WBS is involved? It's in the project scope management segment of it. WBS is nothing but a deliverable oriented hierarchical decomposition of the work to be executed by the team. That is at least the PMBOK definition, which I believe is a bit complicated. So let us break that down. First of all, let us understand what is a deliverable. A project deliverable is nothing but any product or service, or even if it is a documentation, you deliver that to the client. In that case, it becomes a deliverable. Now, it says a deliverable oriented hierarchical decomposition of the work to be executed by the team. We've understood what is a deliverable now. It's a hierarchical decomposition. So, what do they mean by a hierarchical decomposition? For that, if you take a look at this particular example, it will provide you a clear picture. From this example, what you can understand is the project is building a house. And what we're trying to do is further divide it into or decompose it into small segments so that it can be easily identified, planned, monitored, controlled, and worked upon. Let's take this example, building a house, which is further divided into construction and interior design. So, though building a house is your entire project objective, construction would be one part of it, and the other part of it would be interior and design. Now, you can further break down the construction into foundation and structure, whereas you can also break down the interior into painting and designing. I know we can still go ahead breaking down foundation into a couple of things, structure into a couple of items, painting and designing as well into a couple of items, and further as well. But for the purpose of this particular video, let us consider foundation is the maximum that we can break down this particular structure or this particular project. A point where there cannot be further decomposition possible is when that particular item becomes a work package. Now we'll go back to the definition so that you'll understand it much more clearly. Looking back at the definition, it says rather than focusing on individual actions that must be taken to accomplish a project, a WBS generally focuses on deliverables or concentrate measurable milestones. So if I am to build a house, building a foundation for me probably might take the first 3 months. And that is something which is measurable for me. And I know that it's a concrete objective because based on that is how my rest of the functions towards building this project will progress. That is the reason why we try to decompose it. Now, it also says these deliverables may also be called as work packages, tasks, subtasks, or terminal elements. For people who've been working in IT segment for a long period of time right now, you guys might understand what is a task and a subtask, right? The task is something which is major part of your work or major chunk of your work. And then when you divide it into subtasks, those are small activities that will need to be completed so as you achieve your tasks, right? Now, going back to this particular example, we understood the objective of this particular project is to build a house, and we started decomposing the project objectives into multiple small segments, which is construction and interior design, which further um, move to foundation, structure, painting, designing, and all of it. Now we'll see how we should be actually decomposing a WBS. Now, this particular slide talks about the decomposition of WBS. WBS starts with the name of the project at its top level. So building a house in this case is its top level. The next level can either be the project lifecycle or phases. It could be deliverables or sub projects. This is what we saw in the definition as well, right? We're breaking down it into small segments. It also says this decomposition continues until a stage is reached where the work cannot be broken down into any further small segments to estimate, allocate, and manage or to be outsourced. All right. This is where, if you can recollect, I was talking about the smallest segment that you can split the project activity into. That is the point where it becomes a work package. And that is what is given here. We stop decomposing at this stage and we call it a work package. So the project manager will track the progress of the work package for him to ensure the work breakdown structure is properly achieved. In this case, it's a bottom up approach where if you start completing your work packages one by one, it will automatically lead to the previous level in the hierarchy. If in this case, if you complete your foundation, structure, painting, designing, you would obviously move one step above, which will lead to your construction phase and interior and design phase, which would have already been completed anyways, because a compilation of all these work packages ensures that you've completed the activity which is one level above it, right? And that is exactly what work packages are. Those are the smallest undecomposable work that should be tracked, controlled, monitored to provide. The next one is naming convention for a WBS. So we usually use a numbering system to identify each work packages and the level at which each of it resides. If you look at this particular flow diagram, you will see that the project name is written on top, followed by divisions as 1 and 2, forming a tree, and then that getting subdivided into 1.1 and 1.2, respectively 2.1, 2.2. And the next level, if you could see, it's 1.1.1 or 1.1.1, 1.1.2, 2.1.2, 2.1.3, 2.1.1, right? This is how the work is broken down so that you understand which work package maps to which work at any given point in time in the hierarchy. That is the naming convention for a WBS. Usually, this is the standard that is being followed across, but there are a few companies who use the project name in front of those um, numbers and then make sure that is also added each and every time a work package is being called up. Usually at a program level, they might have multiple projects, so it becomes easier for them to track it that way. And that is the reason why they prefix it with the project name. The last segment is WBS dictionary. This is pretty simple. You have multiple work packages now, and you don't know how to reach out to any particular work packages, obviously, right? It will be a lot more confusing. So, what a project manager does here is that he prepares a one-pager document that generally captures the description of each of the work package very briefly, and he keeps recording as and when he adds work packages in that one-pager document and calls this the WBS dictionary. It is almost like an index page for your book. Only thing is that here it would be a lot more detailed with a lot more columns added to it. This is WBS dictionary. So important points to remember here for WBS, just to summarize, is that WBS is nothing but work breakdown structure, which is part of project scope management. Few terminologies that you have to remember here is WBS dictionary, work packages, decomposition of WBS, and naming convention of WBS. WBS is nothing but an entire work that is being decomposed into multiple levels, making it easier for monitoring and controlling and tracking and completing it. We've already seen what is decomposing of WBS. We know how the naming convention works, and what is a WBS dictionary. You can simply equate that to an index on your textbook. With that, project management WBS session comes to an end. I'll meet you with another lecture in the next class. Until that, see you guys.